悪手だね。魔族との対話なんて無駄な行為だ。
One of the community guidelines of the Kiwi farms regarding posting there admonishes you for posting if you have nothing to say. The idea is that you are incentivized to be thoughtful, to contribute something that adds to a discussion, and ensures you are not simply throwing words out into the ether for its own sake. Much of the Kiwi Farms has, or at least used to have, a general incentive that you familiarize yourself with a thread's topic before posting in it. And while the Kiwi Farms may promote such incentives locally, sadly much of the rest of the internet does not abide by such guidelines, as ideal as those might be. Much of the internet has become a sea of generic reactionary content. And that reactionary sea has also brought with it a very tribal and oppressive atmosphere, which has also had the side effect of leading many to seek refuge on the Kiwi Farms, only to be met with swift retribution as they attempt to bring their f***ery to those shores. And that's why the Kiwi Farms ought to be respected, regardless of how one feels about its admins, but that's not even what I wanted to talk about here. Instead, I want to talk about this video. Disney destroyed for lying about Mufasa being the #1 movie over Sonic, The Hedgehog 3. So here you have the usual clickbait hyperbole, using words like destroyed in all capital letters, and also the word lying. Oh, the lying part is what really got my noggin jogging here. This video is a 6-minute blurb of slop produced by one John De La Rose. And what's funny about John here is that over the past month or so, YouTube has also been recommending videos to me from a John F. Trent, and if you look at these two channels from a distance, the profiles look almost identical. And initially I was confused as to who was whom, and had trouble relocating this particular video because of that. But anyway, this video regards a post made by Walt Disney's studio, which, if taken literally, does not specifically say that Mufasa is the #1 movie in the world. And the only way that you would make that determination is based on an implication. But that implication doesn't even matter, because this post by Walt Disney's studio wasn't even trying to be accurate in the first place. What this was a trap specifically designed for people like John De La Rose, Clownfish TV, and who knows how many other online commentators. It was a post made specifically for you to take notice of and react to accordingly, and thereby indirectly promote the Mufasa movie. And this is all essentially no different from the years and years of journalists and industry professionals calling people racist, sexist, and homophobic. It's all designed to get you to react and keep a content train moving. In addition, the reason this kind of back and forth also works is because all these reactionary chud slop tubers won't point out the real problems. They're not going to show why all these woke corpos cannot be trusted. Instead, they're going to keep pushing the idea that all of this woke stuff, it just came out of nowhere. It's all a new development that nobody could foresee. Like, for instance, this repeated coverage of the Witcher 4 trailer. And all these slop tubers act like CD Projekt Red had not already signaled long before that they were going woke.
My name is Piotr Nielubowicz. I'm a member of the board and CFO at CD Projekt. I'm also personally involved in a range of environmental, social, and governance initiatives, ESG for short. I would like to present our strategic approach to ESG issues in the context of our business. This approach reflects our identity and our values. It also takes into consideration the interests of our stakeholders identified in a relevance survey, which we carried out for the first time in 2021.
Oh, but that's right. Nobody was told to care about that until now. So yeah, ultimately, this is all faux outrage. It is manufactured and made to perpetuate mass copium. And this all works against a virtue that was set down by the guidelines of the Kiwi Farms. If you have nothing worthwhile to say, don't say anything at all. I have this clip on standby. As heel versus babyface talking about how the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was marketed to audiences.
This stuff that we just mentioned, the stuff about the Kenobi shit, those, I'm absolutely convinced, I'll have to go back to my video, but the examples they used happened before the show came out. So this was an already orchestrated attack that they knew they were going to do. This was a marketing ploy that they already were going to do as regards to, oh my gosh, she's black, she's getting she's getting attacked.
And again, it's been over a decade now, but people seem to have forgotten the mantra of Anita Sarkeesian. Everything is racist, everything is sexist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out. That is how marketing is done. Remember, Anita Sarkeesian has a marketing degree. Kim Belair has a marketing degree. What marketers do nowadays is say things that get you to react to them, and as a result, they use that as a means of promoting the products that they make. Negative press is still press. Hate watching is still watching. Now, the playing field is not as simple as just refusing to talk about anything, as I clearly do, and I watch Synthetic Man, who regularly plays and streams woke slop. The point I'm trying to make here is that the need to consistently cover the things that you dislike may have a hand in perpetuating their existence as endorsing them would. The average Gatsby has the most base take on this.
YouTubers, shitposters, political pundits, lend me your ears. Your efforts have culminated yet another morbidly curious hate mob, but this time it took an animated project on HBO Max and made it the most watched animation on the platform. Well, at least that's what HBO said on Twitter. Maybe it was a cause of them axing other animation projects. Maybe it's an unverifiable bluff that any streaming service can push. And maybe it was just born with it. Whatever the case, I'd probably still be making this video to address all the shitposters who can't help themselves given the opportunity to be the very first person online to stake the claim that they too dislike what they watched. Still, doom scrolling through the endless torrent of clips on Twitter reminded me of a classic video from the professional profanity slinger himself, the angry video game nerd James Rolfe.
So instead of doing what everybody else is going to do, go see the movie and then talk about how bad it is, I'm going to do something different, something unheard of. I'm not going to see it.
He posted this video back in 2016 to explain that if he doesn't laugh within 15 minutes, he's legally allowed to leave and not watch Paul Feig jerk himself off for 2 hours. In a lot of people's opinion, this was the perfect response, but other media outlets went for the throat, jumping through hoops to explain how not going to the movie theaters to watch a movie that he was probably not gonna like potentially makes him worse than Hitler. As a massive content creator at the time, he's encouraged, no required, to express his anger with the film that he knew he wasn't gonna enjoy. It's the birthright of Ghostbusters 2016 to receive yet another CinemaSin style shit fit, rife with comments like "so true bestie" and "everyone knows women can't be fun." This was 6 years ago, and every passing year this video becomes more and more relevant. I can't be bothered to see exactly how wide of a cinematic universe could be scientifically crafted to appeal to the most general of audiences. And somewhere down the line, this message was lost. You don't have to watch every movie that comes out in the movie theaters. You don't have to watch every cartoon that comes out on HBO Max, and you don't have to play every video game. But with the Olympic level hating that goes on social media, everyone is constantly trying to find the next big thing to hate.
So what this comes down to is, this is a wisdom thing. At a certain point, you need to ask yourself what your goal is, because not drawing attention to something may in fact be more effective at killing it than gathering about the table every week and figuring out what you need to be upset about. Otherwise, all this hate watching takes on a life of its own, and like what Gatsby said about that Infinity Train show, you have an idea with the propensity for greatness, and it's just pushed aside for Velma. Keep that in mind, because the real reason Mindy Kaling won that National Medal of Arts was because this was an opportunity for the deep state to enact more demoralization on us. They knew this was making us upset, and they fed into that. For some of these progressive types, ridiculing them is a fetish for them. It's like calling an axe wound ugly. For some, they know fully well that they are ugly, but they revel in your disgust. They want you to do more of that. So again, based on a virtue set down by these very simple posting guidelines on the Kiwi farms, show some amount of humility. Don't go about producing endless amounts of slop when you don't otherwise have something worthwhile to say. You are not required to react to everything and anything like you need to have an opinion about it. And if anything, it makes you look like you're just thirsty for attention and by proxy, part of an overall problem as it pertains to SlopTube.